The NBA playoffs start April 16th, and with the play-in games, there are now 20 teams vying for the NBA championship. The 2022 playoffs give you up to 9 weeks of action, with game number 1 of the NBA Finals not even tipping off until June 2nd. Last year, the NBA playoff package was listed for $249, but we've made it even better this year by lowering the entire 9-week playoff package to $199. While the early bird catches the worm may be a cliche, but it holds true to this incredible offer. The first 99 customers can use the coupon code FIRST99 and save an additional $50 off the playoff package, dropping the price down to $149. That's right, 9 weeks of NBA action for $149. That's under $17 per week. Act fast to use code FIRST99, as only the first 99 customers can use this code.
Welcome into First Pitch for Thursday, April 14th. I am Drew Martin, joined by Dave Koken and Jimmy Adams of WagerTalk.com. We're breaking down the games on tonight's slate. We got best bets as well going around the horn here. Dave Koken up first. Had a $2 Tuesday smash. His 5% play won big time. He's number one in MLB since 2019 at WagerTalk.com. Check him out, Dave Koken. Dave, welcome in, man. Happy Thursday morning to you.
Thanks. Yeah, it was fun the other night, and baseball's been pretty good so far, so I'm pleased with that. Very quickly, I want to discuss this. Dave Roberts getting all kinds of crap because Clayton Kershaw had to come out after 7 innings. First of all, it was a mutual decision. Do me a favor, everybody in the chat room, you guys, whoever, stop talking about why Nolan Ryan used to throw 190. Nobody gives a shit, okay? That was 40 years ago, whatever. I had hair 40 years ago. That's not coming back, and neither are the days of guys throwing 120 and 130 pitches. He was done, okay? The most he threw this spring was 75 in an inter-squad. It wasn't even in a game. And he had an elbow problem last fall and missed the postseason. He was done, okay? I don't. Who cares about history? Final thought. Johan Santana got left in for, I think it was 134 pitch no hitter when he was with the Mets. He was never the same after that. He was a guy who had some injury issues prior to that, and was left in too long to get a piece of history. And that piece of history ended his career basically. He was never the same pitcher after that. They made the right decision. Sorry, guys. That's the way it goes. I don't like it. Too bad.
That's Dave Koken for you. At Dave Koken on Twitter. Good follow there. We also got Jimmy Adams for today's show. Jimmy, on a heck of a run, his last 177 MLB plays up really good ROI. What, Jimmy? 2-0, last two up 57%. I'm seeing ROI. He's got a 5% play up for tonight at WagerTalk.com, as well as a free play in the Cardinals game. Jimmy, happy Thursday morning to you, buddy.
Yeah, happy Thursday, Drew. Glad to be on again. Baseball's been great the past year plus, the past several years, but the past year at Sports Memo and Wager Talk. We hit a 5%er on Tuesday. We went 2-0 yesterday, and I feel like I'm seeing things well right now. So I fired away another 5%er tonight. I feel like we're getting good value, and you can head over to WagerTalk.com for that. I do want to give a shout out real quick to Dave Koken. I believe it's 4 outright golf winners this year alone. I mean, this is getting out of control in a great way. So congratulations, Dave, and keep that rolling, man. That's amazing.
I'm a little worried because Mito Pereira is a guy I've played a few times. I didn't play him this week, and he shot 500 today. So Mito better not get there this week at the RBC, or I'm going to be mighty unhappy.
Good stuff, guys. On the links, also on the diamond here. So let's get into the games. NL East, first game up here. Philadelphia Phillies, Miami Marlins. We get Sandy Alcantara versus Gibson. Good pitching matchup here, Dave. Minus 110, seeing minus 115 on the Fish at home. Total of 8. It is opening day for the Marlins in South Florida. Dave, throw it over to you. What are your thoughts here, Phillies and Fish?
Yeah, that means they might get, like 15,000 at the game? That'd be huge for them. Yeah, Alcantara with a little red flag in his first start. He didn't get killed or anything, but he walked 5 guys. And for a guy who's a control specialist, that's a little bit of an alarm. We'll see if it continues or he gets back to normal. Gibson looked good in his first start for the Phillies. Phillies coming out of a big series against the Mets, where they lost the last 2. So they need to get back on track. I don't want to go against Alcantara at home, but I have reservations based on his first start about whether he's really sharp right now. So make a case that maybe Gibson might be in a little better form, at least to start the season. Now, Alcantara will have to worry about Bryce Harper, who's given him fits in his career. So we'll see how that goes. I don't have a play here. Alcantara's a guy I really like. If you've watched this show over the past couple of years, you know he's a pitcher I'm very high on. But again, I don't like seeing something completely out of character, which we got last start for Alcantara with all those walks. So I'm going to watch and see if it was just a blip or whether it's something to be concerned about with the Miami right-hander.
Jimmy, coming to you next, I agree with Dave. Alcantara's a guy I'm looking to bet on. However, I will say this, with the Marlins lineup, and I like betting on him when he's got that plus price next to him. He is going off here as the short favorite against the Phillies. Marlins out the gate, 1-4, kind of a tough West Coast road trip to open the season. However, some of those losses were run-one losses, in the 9th inning. They were competitive out there. Record not good right now. And the Phillies, on the other side, 3-3. Their offense not exactly smoking out the gate. A lot of guys kind of underachieving in the start of the season. Interesting handicap here, kind of a competitively priced game in South Florida for opening day for the Marlins. What are your thoughts, Jimmy?
Yeah, so right off the top, this is my 5% play over at WagerTalk.com. So I'm going to take a back seat on this one, and this will be for the paid clients. But I will be giving out a play that is on my card at the end of the show.
And by the way, one note on the Marlins, they had some umpire issues. This West Coast journey. And automatically got kicked out of one game. There was a replay that I don't know how MLB screwed it up, but they did because they got the replay completely wrong. So the Marlins probably hoping they have a different umpiring crew in Miami tonight.
Dave, I was on that game for the clients and took the loss, man. It was a tough one. So I know I'm picking up what you're laying down there in terms of umpire complaints with betting. But guys, let's move down the list here. We got NL East versus NL West. Is the Braves, the defending World Series champions here, Jimmy, head out west to San Diego. Charlie Morton versus Musgrove going for the Pod. Seeing a competitively priced game, seeing it -110 at the opener, pretty much -105 on each side. So pick the winner here, Jimmy. Total of 8 in Petco. What are you thinking, Braves and Pods tonight?
Yeah, this should be a really good game. Competitively priced is right, Drew. So things have kind of been up and down for the Braves so far this season. They lost 3-1 to the Nats Wednesday. They won 16-4 the day before that. I expect the Braves offense to kind of come together as the season goes along. I'm interested to see what happens here. I think letting Freddie Freeman go was a big mistake, but we'll see what happens. Charlie Morton's a guy that I like. He had a WAR of 4.2 a season ago in 2021, so the analytics seem to like him. He allowed 2 runs in 5.1 innings of work, 5 strikeouts, and just 1 walk against the Reds. Padres lost 2 straight to the Giants, and they scored just 3 total runs in those games. So kind of head scratching, as the Padres have some offensive weapons, and I'll be interested to see if they can turn things around here. Joe Musgrove does a really good job with his off-speed stuff. He likes to throw the breaking balls, and he's a guy that I kind of like too. I mean, you go to his first start, and kind of a similar stat line. 2 runs, 6 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts, and no walks, which I love because I hate when pitchers walk, guys, especially with a lead. But I will lean to the Braves in this game. I definitely won't be making my card, and I'll be watching closely, but slight lean to the Braves.
Okay, Braves out west. And Dave, coming to you next. What are you thinking here, Padres and Braves and Petco?
I think the Braves had some excuses at home. A lot of distractions. In the first game, you had this walk-in parade of sorts, and then they're doing the pennant ceremony, and you've got musical guests, and it was just a circus down there. And then Game 3, they had the ring ceremonies, and teams don't seem to do well when they get out of their routine, and it was just a lot of distractions for the opening series of games for the Braves. I think now going on the road, they'll get back to playing baseball. The Padres' lack of offense, it's a lack of Fernando Tatis. I mean, that's a huge lineup changer, and this could be something that the Padres struggle with until he comes back later on this season. Morton Musgrove about even. I think maybe a tiny bit of an edge to Morton, but it's insignificant. I would lean Braves as well, though. I think they get back to playing baseball here, and the Padres just not hitting the ball right now. I'd rather have the Atlanta offense.
Okay. And guys, huge shout out to the chat box. Everybody joining us live. Brandon Porter in the house, Jay, Buck, G, all you guys. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for joining us live. If you're watching on replay, feel free to drop a line below. Any questions we'll answer on the next day's show. So feel free to fire away on the Wager Talk YouTube channel in the reply section. We've actually had some good questions here, guys. Jimmy, a question for you before we move on to the last game. Of course, this being opening day in Southern Cal here at Petco. Does that factor into your handicap at all? And what about travel here? Atlanta playing just yesterday in the ATL, now having to play an early start game on the West Coast in Petco. Does that travel aspect affect your handicap at all?
Yeah, so two great questions, Drew. The first, as far as opening day, I feel like a lot of handicappers overvalue home field advantage in baseball. I feel like baseball home field advantage has almost no impact and shouldn't be this team's playing at home, so they have the advantage. Now, maybe playoff baseball, totally different animal. Maybe you give the edge a little more, but playing at home, no big deal. And then, as Dave kind of mentioned earlier, or maybe touched on, teams can kind of get distracted with all the opening date festivities that are going on. So that has almost zero impact for me. As far as the travel, it's a little early in the season to be super worried about guys that are traveling late. But it certainly factors in more than the home field does. And I'll look at that moving forward.
Yeah,
okay.
Just to add to that, the distractions were there for the Braves because they won the World Series.
Right.
The Padres will not have that distraction. They're not having any ceremonies for the team missing the playoffs with a terrible second half last season. So that's just a baseball game. And I think the crowd will be fired up to the first game, and maybe that carries over to the team a little bit.
Yeah, there in Petco, I mean, in my opinion, one of the better game day atmospheres in all of baseball. So that will be a fun one to watch tonight. Two, I guess, home openers for opening day there in South Florida and Southern California. We got one. Actually, the Rockies have already played at home, but we are finishing it up here with our third game we're breaking down before best bets, guys. We got the Chicago Cubs at the Colorado Rockies. Interesting handicap here, Dave. We get Steele going for the Cubs. It's his first start at Coors Field. That's something that I always kind of look for and actually look to fade. However, his first start this season, a good one, Dave. 0 earned runs. He went 5 innings against the Brewers. We get Kyle Freeland coming from the left side. Actually, both guys southpaws here. And we've seen a huge move, Dave. Minus 145 on the opener. We're seeing the Rocks now at minus 115 as the home favorite. A total of 11. What do you think at a mile high here, Dave?
Well, I had the Cubs circled as a potential play because I thought the price was too high. It's not anymore, so the game won't be on my card. Look, you can point to the Rockies. They're up to a real good start. They smashed lefties in this ballpark last year, and Steele did have a nice first start, but a lot of room before we crown him as a legit big time starter in Major League Baseball. Freeland's a guy I'm not crazy about. He's got to be commanding his stuff low in the zone. If he's not, and he gets up with his pitches, he gets hammered. Both teams playing pretty good baseball. I think it's priced about right now where it is. I think it was overpriced to begin with, but there's certainly no value left in taking the Cubs. At this point, just based on value, I'd probably take the Rockies because you're getting 30 cents the best of it from where it opened to where it is now. But I don't want the game. So I'll sit this one out. I think you might get some offense there today, but I'm not sold on Steele yet. Freeland's a guy who I've never been sold on. So even when he was going real good a few years ago, it's like, I don't know how he's doing it because his stuff just isn't that great. So maybe I call it a guess on the over, but not something I'm betting.
Okay. Yeah, and we are seeing 11 as the total here, Jimmy. And to Dave's point, I mean, the Rocks off to a hot start here, 4-1 on top of the NL West division. Kind of surprising. They are at home. And to Dave's point, they smashed lefties in Coors Field last season. What are you thinking here, Cubs and Rocks tonight?
So I like the Rockies in this game. Yeah, like you guys have mentioned a couple times, 4 straight winners, 4-1 on the season. They won a series versus the Dodgers, and then they sweep the Rangers, who have a good offense. So I feel like Colorado might be a little bit underrated in the betting market. If you look at this division, you got the Dodgers, of course, up top. It's going to be a pretty interesting fight between the Giants, the Padres, and the Rockies. And I feel like the Rockies are kind of the team that everyone feels like is just sitting out, and they're going to have a lot of losses and so forth. But I think this team can win some games because they have an offense. I agree with Dave on Kyle Freeland. I'm not a big fan as well. He gives up 5 earned to the Dodgers. A lot of people are going to get roughed up by the Dodgers this year. But I'm not a believer in the Cubs. I don't think they have very much quality depth at all. They've lost 2 or 3 now. Justin Steele did pitch really well in his first start. We're going to have to see what happens with him moving forward. But, the Cubs, they beat the Brewers a couple times at the beginning of the season, and I am not loving what I'm seeing out of the Brewers, as you will hear in a couple minutes. So give me the Rockies in this game at the short price.
Like it, Jimmy. And guys, we got best bets coming up right now. So I'll stick on this game. This is my best bet here, and I'm going with Colorado at home, a mile high, -115. It's moved off of the opening number of -145, a 30-cent move here. I'm using that, putting that in our pocket here, betting the Rocks tonight at home. Kyle Freeland on the hill. Not necessarily a pitcher, to Dave's point, that I'm absolutely looking to bet on, but at the same time, Steele, his first time pitching in Colorado, that's kind of a fade spot that I look to bet on the Rockies when the opposing pitcher, it's their first time pitching there. He's a former 5th rounder. He was drafted out of high school in the state of Mississippi. Obviously, no experience here. Plus the fact the Rocks, actually the Cubs have had a good bullpen as well, but the Rocks, top 5 bullpen out the gate in the season. So I'm going to go with the Rockies. Their bats at home, -115, a little buy low here for my best bet. Dave Koken, guys, check him out, WagerTalk.com. He had his $2 Tuesday play smash earlier this week. Always bringing the goods, at Dave Koken on Twitter. Dave, what do you got for best bets and final thoughts for the show?
Well, let me go to the Angels-Rangers game with Shohei Ohtani on the mound against Dayton Dunning. Ohtani looked good in his first start. He's, in fact, looked better on the mound than he has at the plate so far. I think he's 4 for 25 and was trying to give his bat CPR in yesterday's game. So he's off to a slow start. That's not going to last long. And I think Dunning might be the right source for success for this Angels offense. Dunning, he's just not much. I think he's a back-end guy. Doesn't overpower anybody. He's got to command his stuff. And he's not the worst guy in the world, but he's certainly not one of my go-with guys. I like Ohtani here. The Angels bullpen remains untrustworthy. I don't want the late innings. I would go first 5 here. May want to take a shot. We'll do it this way for the best bet. Angels -0.5 run for the first 5 innings at about pick 'em -105, -110. We'll make that the best bet here on the show.
All right, good stuff from Dave Koken. We got Jimmy Adams as well. He's got his 5% up at WagerTalk.com. Jimmy, what do you got for best bets and final thoughts for the show?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, go ahead and grab my 5%er tonight. We cashed one earlier this week, and we'll try and hammer home another one. For best bets, give me the Cardinals at a good plus price, around +130. Cards off to a hot start. They've won 3 of 4. The offense has been clicking. 6, 4, 6, and 9 runs in their first 4 games. Adam Wainwright, pretty close to perfect. ERA is 0, no runs in 6 innings pitched against the Pirates in his first start. Brewers have been a really mediocre 3-3 to me so far this season after scraping out a couple wins against the Orioles. They get to 500. The offense has been extremely underwhelming, and the pitching staff is issuing way too many walks. It's really been hard to watch over the first week of the season. And one of those guys issuing too many walks is Brandon Woodruff. He walked 3 and struck out just 2 in his first start, so more walks than strikeouts. Now, he gave up 7 earned in 3.2 innings against the Cubs in his first start. It's not necessarily a bet against Brandon Woodruff because he's a really good pitcher, and I fully expect to bounce back here. But that being said, I'm going to go with the team in the better current form, and that's the Cardinals at a good plus price.
The Redbirds plus the price. Also, guys, if you want the detailed written analysis, go to Jimmy's page. He's got a free play up. Adam Wainwright, the away starter must start as well. We got Rockies minus 115 for my best bet. We got Jimmy Adams Cardinals plus 130. See it there on the screen. And Dave Koken Angels first 5 minus that half a run near the pick'em price at minus 105. So, guys, best of luck if you're out there tailing on the best bets. Again, feel free to reply below in the reply section on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Any questions, where you agree, where you disagree, it is all welcome in the reply section. Like always, huge shout out to the chat box, everybody joining us live. So, guys, best of luck with your bets. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Come back and join us. Best of luck until then. Thanks for tuning in.
The NBA playoffs start April 16th, and with the play-in games, there are now 20 teams vying for the NBA championship. The 2022 playoffs give you up to 9 weeks of action, with game number 1 of the NBA Finals not even tipping off until June 2nd. Last year, the NBA playoff package was listed for $249, but we've made it even better this year by lowering the entire 9-week playoff package to $199. While the early bird catches the worm may be a cliche, but it holds true to this incredible offer. The first 99 customers can use the coupon code FIRST99 and save an additional $50 off the playoff package, dropping the price down to $149. That's right, 9 weeks of NBA action for $149. That's under $17 per week. Act fast to use code FIRST99, as only the first 99 customers can use this code.